It is March 25th and it's time for a garden update. It has been bitter cold here the last couple days with snow, freezing rain, more snow, more freezing rain. You can see here on my geo-air greenhouse that the entire outside layer of plastic is covered with ice, but it's not like that on the inside at all. Even though it's in the mid-20s outside, it is a wonderful 56.4 degrees and 82% humidity inside the geothermal greenhouse. So this is inside my geo-air greenhouse. I call this a geo-air high tunnel or geo-air hoop house. Some people may call it a geothermal greenhouse. And I call it a geo-air because we're using thermal convection from the ground 8 feet deep to heat and cool this greenhouse, but we're using air instead of water. At the far end you can see the pipes coming out of the ground, and this is still in construction mode, so it's not finished off, but right now we're pulling air in through those pipes. They go at 8 feet underneath ground where the soil temperature is a constant 55 degrees, whether you're in Anchorage, Alaska, Phoenix, Arizona, or Idaho Falls, Idaho. And then this manifold over here pulls that air through and puts it back out into the greenhouse. So right now the air coming through those tubes is 57.2 degrees and 56% humidity. So it's taking the cold air from inside the greenhouse and warming it up. On hot days when the doors are closed and I'm not letting the pollinators in and exchanging the air with natural airflow, it'll take that hot air, run it down through the pipes under the ground, and then cool it to keep the greenhouse cool. So if there's more interest on details on the geothermal greenhouse or the geo-air greenhouse, I'd be glad to do a video on that. But let's take a little garden tour and see what we got growing right now. Like I said, it's middle of March, and we've got some 3 different varieties of onions that my wife picked up at the local big box store, Home Depot, and we got those planted. We've got yellow sweet Spanish onions in the center, and on the outside we've got some Walla Walla onions. These are planted 4 inches apart according to the Mittleider gardening course book, Appendix E, which tells us exactly how far apart to plant these onions. And here we've got 2 rows instead of 4 of candy onions. Love the candy onions. They're a great onion to grow pretty much anywhere. Grown them in Houston, now we're growing them here in Idaho. I like stapling my plant labels here because then they don't get knocked around, get lost, get broken, other than when you use a hard plastic instead of the soft plastic and they get broken when I staple them. But we've got some Detroit red beets here. Here we've got some Beets collards. Here's some Swiss chard. 8 weeks ago we planted these seeds. A bunch of Swiss chard came up, so we planted that. We've got some red acre cabbage. It's looking really good. Broccoli, of course this is our Pac-Man broccoli, which we absolutely love. We've got several of those planted. Here's the amazing Holland's cauliflower. And to finish off the row, we've got some early Jersey cabbage. That's the south 18-inch by 30-foot grow box. Of course, this is the one that gets the majority of the heat and the majority of the light. Standing next to the tubes here, you can actually hear the air being pulled in, the motor pulling the air in through the tubes. These are King Arthur peppers. We love these peppers. They're big and beautiful. They grow very large plants and very large peppers, and that's why they're in this box, because they do need to get some vertical support. Instead of putting poles down, we decided to just put them under the T-frames and use the twine to support them. Next to the King Arthur peppers, we've got some sweet Spanish peppers, then Black Beauty eggplant, which we love, the medium eggplant. Then over here we've got some banana peppers, very small right here, kind of difficult to see, and these are not being grown vertically, but they're using the support. I found a weed. This is a rare event, so I want to get it on video. I actually did find a weed here. Nice. And now the weed is gone. There we go. So occasionally those will blow in. Of course, the sawdust and sand is weed free. And that's one of the big advantages of using this custom soil mix. We'll be filling the rest of these in with the seedlings that we're growing in the kitchen right now. On the opposite side of the bell peppers, we've got some cherry tomatoes. Looking forward for those. Some San Marzano paste tomatoes. That's a nice heirloom. And then our favorite, which is the big beef tomato. They're doing really well. And they've got lots of blossoms and fruit setting on them right now. These again are 8 weeks old. And they are doing really, really well. I simply wrap the twine around the tomato as it grows vertically, and I keep it pruned down to 1 main leader. We've got some cucumbers on the cucumber plants here. We've got some blossoms on the Boston, and also some blossoms on the straight 8, in addition to the Boston pickling. The soyo longs have cucumbers on them, and we got the butternut squashes looking good. Then we got a couple of varieties of pole beans. We got a Blue Lake and Kentucky Wonder beans here climbing up the poles. These are probably, well, they're chest high, so probably 4.5 feet tall right now. Then here is another heirloom, a Siberian rose. We're looking forward to that one. This is the first time we planted that. And then we've got a Gold Rush zucchini with zucchini on it already, and we'll be planting this vertically to see if we can reduce the space and increase yield. I keep my primary nutrients here in the greenhouse for availability. Very easy to make. They provide all the nutrients that my plants need. Somebody asked me the other day, what does it cost to grow using the Mittleider method? So I did the math, cost of the 16-16-16 mineral fertilizer, then the cost of the Epsom salt I bought at Sam's Club, and then the micronutrient pack, which is really the key to this. That makes 30 pounds of nutrients in an 18-inch by 30-foot box. If we had that completely planted with tomatoes, that'd be 41 tomato plants. And if very conservatively each tomato plant produced 15 pounds of tomatoes, the total cost of growing a pound of tomatoes would be 2 cents, feeding those tomatoes plants 12 times. So not only am I getting the plants all the nutrients that they need on a weekly basis in the right ratios and amounts, I'm doing it very, very inexpensively. Tomatoes right now, the bland grocery store tomatoes are $1.29 a pound, and I'm growing them for 2 cents a pound. Here we got some curly kale. We really love that. Makes nice chips. Some green lettuce. We just come and pick off the leaves around the edges and take that. We've been harvesting that for about a month now. Just planted some romaine. These plants here, as you can see from the tags, we did not grow from seeds. My wife picked these up at Home Depot. I always get really nervous when we pick up seedlings. You can tell that there was obviously a issue with insects at the greenhouse, and I'm concerned that we're bringing those things to our garden. Seems like we always get aphids when we buy plants from the store. That's another big reason why you want to grow your own plants. We've got some beautiful red lettuce here. Here we've got some onion chives. We'll be planting some more things in here. Here's cilantro. We just planted some carrots in here and some green onions. And over here we actually started some carrots indoors and then transplanted them out here in the garden. These are 8 weeks old. They're doing really, really well. Here's some spinach that my wife bought at Home Depot, and then here's some that we grew from seeds inside the house. It is beautiful out here. It can be freezing or 10 degrees below freezing outside, and we're in here eating lunch with our chairs and enjoying the beauty of gardening. So that's the garden update right now. Really nothing has changed since I moved to Houston, to Idaho. I built the greenhouse to follow the second law of plant growth, which is temperature. In Houston, I had an in-the-garden greenhouse, which worked great for controlling temperature in Houston. Here, wanting to be able to grow year-round, I built a geothermal greenhouse because I like eating year-round and I like eating fresh, homegrown vegetables. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. My way to prepare here in Idaho, in cold country, where we only have about 70 to 80 days of growing season, is to build a geothermal greenhouse. What you do in your area may be different, but it's important to be prepared to be able to grow food to sustain your family.